Okay, so we're learning about Parshas Vayechi. I guess I'll do a short Kamana, which I really love. There's another Kamana I thought to do, but I don't think we have the time. And then we'll learn about the tribes. And then we'll see if we have the time, we'll do a little bit of the Chesed Avram. Hopefully it'll all fit in. So the first thing is that Yaakov, when he gives his last words and his blessings to his children, so he speaks about Dan. He says, I have hoped for your salvation, Hashem. Yishuascha kivisi Hashem. Which is certainly interesting. Maybe we'll understand a little why specifically by Dan he did that. Even one particular way of understanding it through the Rav Tzaddik that we'll talk about in a minute, Bez Hashem. Just doing this short piece now. So the Gemara, the first thing that he says, one of the things he said, which is very beautiful, he says that every deliverance that Hashem brings has everything to do with hoping to Him. The hope creates a vessel, and that enables delivery. So the person, when it has bitachon, just has faith in Hashem, just waits for Hashem, that can bring all the good things. Hashem, that hope is the way you bring the deliverance. It's not the opposite way. We think, well, it's hopeless. We don't realize when we say, well, it's hopeless, then it's like we are shutting off or disabling our ability to get what we need to get spiritual influx, get help. We're not allowing it. We're supposed to be uplifted. We're supposed to be connected. It's all, everything has to do with just hoping. Hope is very powerful. There's like, no, again, this kivisi, the language I always bring, the Ramchal says, the language of kivisu, kivui, this language is very interesting. What does kav mean? Kav means a line. In modern Hebrew, when you want a telephone line, you say a kav telephone. So he said, the Ramchal says, he's a bit before a telephone, but he says, when you hope to God with your entire heart, he says, you forge a direct line between you and Hashem. Right to the kisei kavod. So you don't need angels. All this angel stuff is just not with your whole heart. So when your whole heart in the prayer, or in the just hope, so you don't need anything, it just goes right up. Does what it's supposed to do. Hashem says any heartful prayer anyway it does right away. But when you're just the power of hope, we don't begin to understand what is this secret. Like when you're hopeful, you don't even understand where you are, as opposed to a person who just can't seem to find it within themselves. It's a very, very sad place to be. There's always hope. Anyone who feels that things are hopeless is because they're just buying something which isn't real, fake. It's just fake. It's not real. Reality is everything is hopeful and everything's good and everything counts. That's what's real. The rest of it is fake. It's just not real. It's like somebody, it's like the story with the Kutzker, right? The Kutzker, one time there was somebody who heard his factory burned down and he was so broken he just fainted. He woke up, we started reviving him, right? And someone reminds him, who remembered, oh, my factory burned down, fainted again. Third time he's on the verge of fainting, the Kutzker said, your factory didn't burn down, nothing happened. So he grabbed onto that. It was like a little hope. Hopeful. He says not. He's a tzaddik. He wouldn't lie. And it worked out like whatever. 20 minutes later, no, it wasn't his. It was something else. I said, how did you know? Was it prophecy? He said, it's too much of a test for you. It's not time for you to leave the world. That he knew, I guess. So he said, it's too much of a test for you to go through. You see, fainting, you're going to die. So it must be that it's not true. It can't be true. So wait to verify before you faint. Just check it out. So it's the same thing. This is just not true. Why shouldn't we be hopeful? It's not true. It's not real. Real is every day, every second is forever. And even just to extend life, as Nassim points out, other authorities make this point. They say, we violate Shabbos to extend someone's life he's not going to wake up. Not going to wake up. Just to give him life. Just living here is doing clarifications, making things. We don't even understand it. Why should you break Shabbos? Okay, it's time to go. No. Here's 5 minutes. It's worth it. And even though we say, well, he might do tshuva, it's not only that. There's something very deep happening. Even if the way we would appear like there's no chance, it doesn't matter. Extend life. We can all break Shabbos for someone to help him extend his life. Just give him a little more. It's so much. That's the value of every day, every second of life. We don't even understand how precious it is. Okay, so the Gemara, one more thing he says, you don't understand. He said, when you have people together, he said, the lashon of kivui, which means to hope, also can mean like to gather. So he said this element, this aspect. He said when you have Hashem kivisi asifasi, right? Mikveh Yisrael Hashem. Like mikveh means a pool of water, a gathering of water. It's not only hope; it's also a language of gathering. She said that's another way of understanding. He said when you have 10 Jews together and they're hoping for Hashem's Yeshua, they're just they have proper humility with a lot of joy. He said these people, they have no idea. Speaking good things. He said the Shekhinah is there. The divine presence is with them. He says an angel can't go in this place because they'll be burnt to pieces. It's much higher than an angel. 10 people just in a good place, that's like, we don't even begin. Like, what does this mean? A person dials the main and he's connected the way he's supposed to be. Takes him to amazing places. So those are two things the Gemara says about Lishuas Kivisi Hashem. So now I thought I would go through the tribes this time. Okay. We'll go pretty quick. We'll do a quick one. Each tribe, what Yaakov tells, each tribe has its own particular significance. So Reuven, he says to Reuven, okay. Right. He says he's first. He says he was pachas kamayim, unstable like water. He lost his bechorah. That's what Yaakov says. This idea of pachas kamayim, on the one hand, it's very, very good. Rav Tzaddik says, listen, if you're quick to do a mitzvah, you run to do it, and you rush, that's great. So you have to be careful not to lose out. Not to run for bad things and not to lose out. Person, be careful not to sometimes I'm rushing. I lose out because I'm in such a rush. We have to know when to make it quick, when to move, when it's like water, fly, and when to. This needs a little more deliberation. Sometimes a person wants to do a good thing. This is especially in terms of rebuking somebody else. When help them, right? If you don't know how to do it right, there's a good chance of you like making horrible destruction and not being able to fix it so easy. Person he's not holding by it. That's not what one does. You have to be very, very careful. We don't know what another person's going through. You're not going to sometimes give a person a smile, you're giving them their life. You have no idea. This person's such suffering. You can't say, you can't tell. How are you supposed to know what another person going through, how hard it is, how easy it is? We don't know. We have no idea. Very like Baruch Hashem, what they give us the ability. Even a person who's depressed and has it very hard can learn how to live life on life's terms and just connect to Hashem and be happy no matter what. That's really what the power of what the Rebbe has to offer. It's like an incredible thing. Incredible. There's just no words. So that's the first thing. And then we have Shimon and Levi. Shimon and Levi, yeah, they instruments of Hamas. I mean, Hamas is like crime, destruction, whatever you want to say. They went. They had fire and rage. They did some strong stuff. They went to Shechem. It wasn't a simple thing. So very nice. Okay, so we're not talking on our level, right? It's not some guy getting angry. It wasn't some guy getting angry. Even Yaakov, he didn't say, "What'd you do that for?" They could tell that that's what needed to be done. That's how you pick it up. Okay, some that can really know, but you can't. What about how it looks and what it is? To this day, people are like, what happened there? What's the deal? It's a very strange, it's a very hard thing to understand. So it's true, they knew whatever they knew on the heavenly level. That doesn't mean one should act that way. So Shimon and Levi, yeah, each one had a different, they sort of separated out. Levi connected to Torah. That's his whole name is connection. He connected to Torah. And when Moshe Rabbeinu asked for someone to help him against the golden calf, they came as one. And Shimon was the opposite. He connected to the other side. There's like a potential. You have to be firing good, and you also have to be careful not to act in a way, not to use that in a way that's going to be misused. To be very, very careful. When I'm rebuking someone, I'm giving someone what I'm supposed to do. Very, very careful how to do it. It should be with the Koch HaTorah. It should be, the Rebbe says, you can connect to the depth of their soul and like kind of pick them up that way. very, very careful that it should not be in a way that's going to be harmful. Not harmful. When you see something is harmful, stay out of the way. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. Very, very careful. You have to be a big expert in people to know when you can act in a way that's sharp and help someone. You have to know, some people, they have the ability to person to be very sensitive to the person and say, is this right? Isn't it right? Am I right? Am I wrong? That already you can hear, but if that's not where you are, that's not what you should be doing. So Shimon, again, Levi connected to Torah, and they know they're the ones who are supposed to rebuke us the proper way. And Shimon did not use it the right way. Again, Shimon is this aspect of, Nassan says, this aspect of holy humiliation. The person is able to finally hear. He wants to hear. He wants to understand. He wants to hear. So you have to know, you have to use that right. You can't use that in the wrong way. A person has to know, he has to have a foundation of chizuk, of encouragement, in order to be able to, Nassan says, a little bit of that, wow, how can I be so far, right? A little bit of that, and a lot of what do you mean so far? Look at all the good. So that's the minute person, how can I be so far? It was even, forget about equal, a quarter, a third, 10%, 5%, that's too much. Way too much. It's way over the top. What 5%? Less than 5%. Should be a little bit. And then the rest of it is just chazak, just chizuk. And that's also, you have to know where you're holding. You have to know it's not breaking you. It's not too much. You have to know where you are. Everyone has to know where they are. So that's Shimon and Levi. So that's really, they're the people who enabled the acceptance of Gerim. They're the people who did it. Right? They're the ones. They're the ones who enabled it. They're the ones who enabled this special thing. Because again, Torah and this realization that we're so far, that's really going to be. That's how the Tzaddik says. So that's why it says the Erev, because they were connected to Moshe, they were connected to Torah. So they did not get mixed in with Levi. With Shimon, there were a lot. They had a bechina. Right. Most of the people who died in Shittim, who died with the sin, that was Shevet Levi. That was Shimon. That was Shimon. Yeah, there has to be a purification. That purification is what enables good things, and they meant good things, and we have to be zoche b'ez Hashem to use these two capacities properly. So now, what's Yehuda? We're called Yehudim. We're all called Jews. That's the name. Yeah. Some people say even that he's the one who killed Esav. Such a thing. Tosu brings a Git Nun Hey, the Sifri. That's Yehuda. So your hand is on the neck of his enemy. That's what Yehuda is. He has the power to break, and that's through Hodah. We know through thanking and praising Hashem. That's the power of Yehuda. Yeah, that's also right. This is what brings to kingship. Also, this aspect of praising Hashem, being able to and admitting when you're wrong, when you mess up. That's what Yehuda did. He admitted when he made a mistake, even though it cost him. It was very problematic for him. He admitted when he made a mistake, and he also. His whole life was just praising Hashem. That's what he was. And that's how a person is able to learn how to rule. He has to have also rule. Shipur Nachman says it's through just praising Hashem. The power of praise. It's a very wonderful, special way of connecting to Hashem. So then we have Zvulun. Zvulun was on the seashore. Right? Zvulun was on the seashore. So Zvulun, that's where you got the tchelis from. That destroys bad. Tchelis, that's the idea of kolayon, means destruction in its own way. Also, destroys negativity. That's this aspect of having proper boundaries. Zvulun was able to go out and do business, everything had the right boundary. That's the aspect of being on the seashore, of Tzaddik says. That's a boundary. Had a boundary. That's Zvulun. Yisachar is an aspect of a donkey that carries. So this is this aspect of Chomer, this aspect of Maisa, that's action. This world, that's called Chomer, that's called material. So it's either because he works a lot on Halacha Maisa, right? And also because he does good mitzvahs. He doesn't just learn, he learns how to apply the good that he knows, right? The Yodeh Bina, Yisachar knows how to find the light in the darkness. They're the ones who can figure out when you're supposed to sanctify the new moon. That means when I see the darkest place, in the darkest place, and I can find the light there. And say, no, it's going to be, just turn around. That's the power of Yisachar. It takes a very great understanding to do that. So, we're up to done. Right. So, it says, done, done is very, judgment, the very name, right? He judges. The very name of done, he's the one who's, he's the one who's able to judge favorably. That's his. When you find yourself judgmental, you have to learn how to use that to judge favorably, not to use it to judge disfavorably. That's why they were the ones. They brought everyone close. Done. Everyone they brought close. So that's the power of what done is. Then you have Asher as a person he has to feel fortunate, connected to fortune. Yeah, it's the idea of eating food in a holy way. That's what Rav Tzaddik explains. We have Naphtali. I thought was the idea of Naphtali. Naphtali is an aspect of a wick. A person is able to bring the light in a good way, in a healthy, balanced way. Right. And we have God. Yeah. All right. He says, raiders shall raid God, but he will raid it through. He says, aspect of Tzaddik takes this. He says, they went out to they were the ones who did Milchama. They were the ones who did, right? They had a yichus. They were very connected to their fathers, and they were able to fight the way they were supposed to fight. And Rav Nassan says that the Navi comes from God in a certain way. This aspect of geula, this aspect of not allowing that the person shouldn't allow himself to be connect to things that are negative. When you're involved in things, you have to realize sometimes you have to be able to pick people up. The Baal Shem says when you want to help people, you're like a broom sweeping away. Sometimes you have to be in the dirt. Don't let that drag you down. You have to be able to purify. So the Rebbe says through spodulus, fiery spodulus. Then we have Yosef. Yosef is the aspect of a tzaddik. That's the aspect of a person who's able to bring shefa no matter where, no matter what, no matter who. He's always adding. That's the aspect of Yosef. I'll just say one thing, a quick thing from the Zohar, if there's enough time, which is that the Zohar, we find it speaks a lot about death, fortune of tzaddikim, that Hashem is the one who comes for them and he helps them. And tzaddik, he feels nothing. That's Yaakov Avinu, leaves the world. It's like walking to the next room. I just want to say a slight bit. It's Chesed Avram. The Chesed Avram says, it brings there, he says that every person living in Eretz Yisrael, even the simplest person, if he means sincerely, he has a shliach, his messenger. Every person, the angel of death can't be in a million places. There's a special messenger to each person. The messenger here is from a holy good place. It's like an aspect of shechita, of kosher slaughter. Out of Israel, you need to have a very special merit. Otherwise, you just get whatever it is. It's not so simple. Living here is a very big advantage. Just being here, even if the person is not a wicked anti, whoever he is, doing his best, that's enough. That's what it seems to Chesed Avram. And he says, tzaddikim, it's just, they don't even feel anything. It's just like fish. Just like, fished out and time to move on to the next world. Hashem shall be zoche to live with an awareness that at a certain point it's going to be time to move on. And every day we have to prepare for that and yearn for the time when we'll connect to Hashem. We'll be one with Hashem. That's Hashem.